Hello, Aniviewers, and welcome to Dusk, Maiden of Amnesia review with me, Retro Ali. So let's get straight into it. Dusk, Maiden of Amnesia came out in April 8th, 2012 and ran up to June 24th. It's a 13 episode anime, 12 episodes for the main storyline with an OVA at the end. Now, the story follows the first year student niiya, who goes to a private school which has many rumours, legends, and even myths of a ghost named Yuko. Yuko is a girl who died within the school, and only niiya can see her. She has no memory of her past or how she even died. Now, being the fact that niiya is the only person who can see Yuko, they develop a very close relationship, and that relationship further develops into something more romantic. They set up a paranormal investigation club so that they can uncover Yuko's past and the mysteries and myths that revolve around her as well as the school. Now let's go straight into the characters. The main character niiya is one of the very few anime characters who can see Yuko. He's a very caring, nice character who is interested in helping Yuko to uncover her past. He is somewhat haunted by her, as he said in the first anime. This is mainly because that he's the only person that she can see and has some sort of slight interaction with him, so that they actually develop a very strong relationship right from the get-go. And over time, you see this sort of playful relationship grow into more of a romantic love, really, as he becomes more and more determined to help Yuko find out who she really is and accept her as who she is and what her past was. Now, Yuko is the most interesting character in this entire anime. Yuko is a very heartwarming, loving character, and her interaction with niiya is probably the best thing and the biggest draw of this series. After all, this is a sort of a romance, sort of supernatural anime. When you see them interact with each other, it's actually really sweet and really engaging to watch them both on screen. I mean, yes, there's the obvious stuff where she sort of teases him all the time and stuff like that, but even the way they sort of hold each other and just talk to each other, you can really see there's a real sense of a great friendship and even a love between the two. But the fact that she has no past also makes her more interesting, as we have an idea of who she is, but we're also on this journey of sort of discovery. We're slowly finding out more and more stuff about her, so we're actually kept engaged throughout the entire series as we want to know how she died. But there is a bit of a twist to it, because Yuko herself hints at a slightly dark side of herself, because obviously she's dead, so there's some sort of great tragedy for her to still be wandering the land of the living, really. And the way the anime cuts these sort of slight darkish imagery and how she slightly hints at what may have happened to her, it's actually kind of interesting to see how she died, and we're very interested in to see, well, what really happened to her. There are two other side characters in this anime as well. The first is Carrie, and again, apologies for the Japanese names, is Yuko's grandniece, and is able to also see her. It's a nice touch to have this sort of family similarity between the two, because if you look at the design, they do look very similar, which I think is quite cool. At first she fears her, as she sees Yuko as an evil spirit, but becomes more accepting of her later on, but doesn't really interact with her. She kind of ignores Yuko, but that's mainly due to her suspicions of her, because she does see it as there is something more to her. You know, that she has this darker side to her that niiya doesn't see or doesn't really want to see, and so she's trying to be the sort of middleman between the two. She acts like a very tough character, even though sometimes she might act sort of weak and just trying to keep face. She pretty much acts as the voice of reason for niiya, helping him out to say, look, don't just go straight in with her, you don't know what's really going on with her. And also helping out with their relationships, giving them advice and stuff like that as well. Well, mainly to niiya, he doesn't really go to Yuko. She never really interacts with her much. It's kind of rare to see them both sort of talking to each other. Now, the last character is kind of the weakest one, is Mome, most active member of the club, as she's constantly researching the ghost stories of the school, finding out where all this happened and everything like that. So she actually is quite helpful to the story, because she finds out all these ghost stories that are kind of revolved around Yuko, or just in general with the school. She does have feelings for niiya, kind of funny to see her hide it. She is very much the ditz of the group, the sort of, you know, just funny, sort of comedic character. It's also very funny the fact that she can't see Yuko, so that added a bit of value as well. Now the animation in this is really great. There's some great detail to these characters and into the backgrounds, especially when you go up to the sort of the close-up of the character. There's some really nice detail, and even the way of some lighting. Like sometimes they might go up to a character's face, and it won't be just natural lighting. It might be like a darker sort of shadow over them, and they've changed their eye colours to make a contrast, and it looks really cool. The lighting is fantastic. Some of the evening lighting and how the light comes through, like sparkles through the trees, or get that sort of evening feel, or even like how it glistens through the windows, looks really cool, and especially during sort of darker areas of the anime. It is a bit of a supernatural thing. There's some horror-like aspects, the way the lighting is used, the mood is set, the music, so it really creates an eerie feeling to it, but it never feels unbalanced. It really does balance it. The sort of eeriness and the sort of slight horror-esque elements and the mood lighting and all that sort of stuff is balanced with the drama, the romance, and the comedy. So it all feels really balanced. It doesn't feel like, oh, they're just putting it in there just for the hell of it and it's really unbalanced with the rest of it. It feels completely natural in the whole story. The story is interesting as it is an investigation of the ghost stories surrounding the school / Yuko. And seeing how these stories have been twisted during the years is actually kind of interesting, because they were once fact, which then turned into fiction, and then to myths, and into legends and that sort of stuff. It's kind of one of those things where, you know, how a story gets passed on through the generations completely changes. Because Yuko has been around that school for probably over 30 years now, so it's kind of interesting to see how these stories have changed when they originally involved her. There's also some great mythos involved as well, because there's a bit in the anime where they said that, oh, the only people that can see Yuko is the people that want to see her, and it's how they think of her in their mind is how they will see her. So if you see Yuko as a sort of demonic evil thing, then that's how you will see her. So I thought it was interesting how different people can perceive how she looks, but then again, it's not used much in the anime, which is kind of disappointing. There is a bit of ecchi stuff to it as well, which depending on your taste isn't for everyone, but it's kind of there. There's this funny sort of teasing moments, you know, like, oh, you can touch me, it's fine. It's like, you know, I'm not a big fan of that sort of comedy. I think it's very sort of meh to me, but some people like it, some people don't. It's up to you. There is fan service in this, but it's not too much to a point where I say it's a full-on ecchi, but there's enough to almost make it one, really. The romance is great. When I said that out loud, it sounds really wrong when you say it about a live guy and a dead girl. Just don't think about it for 5 seconds. But it is great. It's really nice to see how it evolves from just them two being really sort of playful, and how she just sort of just sticks to niiya because he's a kind person who just sees her as how she is rather than just some ghost girl. It's kind of interesting to see how it evolves throughout the series. Are there any negatives? There is a few. Okay, one, the easy one, is probably the ecchi moments. Depending on your taste, you might not like it. It's not for everyone, I understand that. So if you don't like that stuff, that is a negative. One big issue I have with the anime is the last episode, episode 12, which completely destroys the ending to this anime, as well as just the whole setting and mood of that last episode in general. Spoiler warnings, I'll quickly go into it. In the last episode, Yuko and niiya go on a date for the last time as she is about to leave this world. So we see how she goes tell him to leave, and he stays with us for the last moments. And in those last moments, she's slowly fading away from this world, and they're sitting in the club room where they first met. She can't talk no more because her voice is gone now because it's going away and stuff. So they're just sitting there holding each other, and they're writing in the book saying, stay with me for the last moments and stuff like that. It's really sad. And then she's gone. She's gone from this world, and it's like, oh, it's a really bittersweet ending. It's kind of sad. It's kind of like that moment in Titanic. Oh, I feel so much. But then she comes back. And she's like, you have to take responsibility. I can't leave you here alone. I love you, stuff like that. And I'm like, why do that? Why bring her back to just make a happy ending to this anime? What, are you trying to get a second season out of it? Are you trying to promote the manga, which is mainly what I'm guessing you're doing? It's so frustrating the way that they destroyed a very powerful and emotional moment in that in the anime where it's like, oh, it's so bittersweet, it's so beautiful. It was disgusting how they just throw this happy ending at your face. It is stupid, and it goes into my other thing as well. The biggest problem I have with this anime, which isn't a real problem, but the whole concept is just weird. Because it's about a guy going out with a dead girl, and that's just ridiculous in itself. That's almost necrophilia in a way. And when you think the fact that he's going out with a dead girl or like a ghost, it just doesn't seem right. This isn't Patrick Swayze's ghost, and even then, he didn't even stay for the whole thing. Ugh. Okay, rant over. So, anyway, what do I give it overall? I give it a 8 out of 10. It is a fun anime to watch. It's actually interesting to see the progression of the relationship. The comedy aspects are really funny. There's some great moments, even some sort of really disturbing sort of eerie moments to this as well. So it has a great balance of sort of horror-esque elements, comedy, drama. There's some really nice twists in the anime as well, stuff that you wouldn't see coming. Very cool. I say give it a watch. That's all, and see you next time.